Hey, welcome back to Gumbo Podcast with revolutionary instigators. We got Ray, Tay,
Yo.
me the host, and we got this ugly nigga here, B.
Damn.
And we also have our guest.
Damn, so sad.
Introduction like motherfucker.
You know I love you. You know I love you. We also have a special guest, Tara V. Massey. She is here to talk to us today about endo. And for those that don't know, endo is short for endometriosis, which is an often painful disorder in which tissue similar to the tissue that normally lines the inside of your uterus, the endometrium, grows outside your uterus. Endometriosis most commonly involves your ovaries, fallopian tubes, and the tissue lining your pelvis. So, Tara, would you care to give us a little bit more insight on that?
Sure. So with endometriosis, it goes undiagnosed for at least 7 to 10 years. You don't know that you actually have it until
Wow.
something traumatic normally happens, which happened with me. I want to say 2015, I had an emergency surgery that I had to get done, and once they went in, they found out that my cyst had been wrapped around my fallopian tubes. So they removed all of that, and life has not been the same since. You have a lot of period-like symptoms daily. So,
wow.
say for instance, the cramping, the hormonal imbalance. Well, endo is a hormonal imbalance, but you experience that on the day-to-day basis. Painful intercourse for some. Some can't do it at all, and that's another disorder. I can't even pronounce it, but it's edemosis.
No,
Don't judge me.
no,
Okay.
we know you know what you're
Okay.
talking about.
It's just a whirlwind of change. You can't eat certain foods. It has to be anti-inflammatory diet. Pelvic floor therapy. I just started doing that last year, and I learned that there are 3 layers to the vagina.
That's a lot of layers.
I just learned that
Yeah,
today.
it's right.
I was about to say I
I
just
have
learned
one,
that today.
so-
More than one is a lot.
Yeah.
I got more layers to explore.
Sheesh.
You do. You
All
really
the
do.
adventures.
Let me. Woo! What we gonna do today? Hey, get your goggles.
Anyway.
So it's truly a world that has not been discovered as far as endo is concerned. A lot of women deal with it and don't know that they actually have it. And there's a stigma in the black community. I feel like if you don't discover it or tap into it, then it don't exist. Like if I don't check my bank account, I ain't broke.
Yeah.
That's how it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And then
Shit.
you go to doctors and they minimize your experiences. And you're like, no, I know this is happening. They're like, oh, no, it's in your head. They treat you like you're crazy.
Right.
So I'm trying to teach women and younger girls to advocate. And that's what I've been doing since 2018.
Okay. So how like on average, how many women would you say are diagnosed? Specifically speaking of black women, how many are diagnosed with endo?
I don't have an exact number. I can give you an overall number. They say at least almost 2 million are diagnosed, have been diagnosed with endo.
And that's the general population.
That's the general population, including white women, Asian women, other. Black women, I feel like we aren't diagnosed until much later in life, or, like I said, a traumatic experience. Most women do have a traumatic experience, but I do feel that some have experienced a buildup. When I say a buildup, their doctor suspects that they may have it, so they're doing treatments prior to.
Okay.
Now, some women, they don't have that privilege. Something bad just happens and you're having a real shitty day, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I feel like I'm dying right now.
So this is kind of a general question. So another thing that we really don't discuss in the black community is mental health.
Mhm.
So exactly how, Kate, from your own experience, because you kind of alluded to it a little bit, how did that diagnosis and this whole situation affect you mentally?
Now I can see it affected me a big deal. Like it really did. In the beginning, I wouldn't say I was in denial, but I didn't want to tap into it too much. Because if I tapped into it too much and if I found something that I didn't like, I didn't know how I was going to respond to it. And then on top of that, you kind of go into a mode of isolation, and then your anxiety increases because you never know when you're going to have a flare up or when you're going to feel extremely sick, and if nobody believes you, who's going to actually come and help you? Because sometimes you can't do it by yourself. Literally, I want to say today's Saturday. Thursday, I couldn't walk. So if I
Damn.
had if I didn't have a support system that actually believed everything that's going on, I don't know how I would have made it Thursday, because I physically could not walk. Like my legs were tingling, there was aching and everything. Like I couldn't move. It felt like I had cinder blocks. So to tie back into your question, I do feel like your mental health is definitely, I guess I can say tampered, or you can feel the difference mentally. I know I'm not in the same mental state that I was prior to being diagnosed. Once I first found out, and now I can actually admit certain things to myself and acknowledge things. But it definitely plays on your anxiety and depression, because you have a tendency to isolate yourself without realizing it. I isolated myself and didn't realize I was isolating myself from people. So the people I was talking to when I initially found out about it, we don't talk no more.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I can
Like,
only
we know each other,
imagine,
but we don't talk.
because
Yeah.
like we talked about, the problems within the black, health community, and you going to the doctor and you telling them, yo, this is how I feel. This is my body. And your doctor's telling you, well, I've been doing this for 20 years, so this is really what it is. So I can only imagine just going back and you keep telling your doctor, yo, this is what it is, but your doctor keeps telling you, it's okay, you'll be fine. And the next thing, mentally that can be like, yo, nobody believes me, nobody's listening to me. Like like you said, it can be very draining. So I understand you're taking steps to, bring awareness to endo and do something about this fight and fighting for endo. So, exactly what do you have in place?
One, I've brought awareness to my job. So when I say to my job, I work at a high school. So I decided to initiate the Empower Project. So that's through EndoFound, which is another organization I volunteer for. And they've created classroom lessons. So I've integrated that into their health curriculum at my high school. I don't know if I should say where I work.
I mean, it's
It's up to you.
that's up to you.
Okay, I'm not going to say where I work, but
we know you a high school counselor. We got
okay,
you.
yeah, I work with high school students. I'm gonna leave it at that. So we've been able to integrate that into the health curriculum, and that's brought a lot of awareness at my actual job. So my administration, who knows me, they know that I have it. Other teachers that I work with, they're aware of it. So the attention that I didn't get before, I get now. Now, some people still don't respect the fact that I am sick and sometimes I can't do certain things, but the majority, they do. They get it. I'm talking to younger girls, guys, about pretty much women's reproductive health and how the males are also affected by it, because they don't always realize that they're affected. So integrating that, what else was the rest of the question?
Oh no, I was just asking you, how are you bringing awareness to it?
Oh, and I'm starting my own organization. So I want to make sure black women especially have a platform. They have a support system, because most of us don't have it outside of each other.
Okay.
And even when we do create one, it's like you criticize for creating something that is needed in your community. And all the Karens want to be a part of it. And it's just like, Karen, just sit down. Like, you have so much that's been given to you. Like, we don't mind sharing, but sometimes Karens be stealing.
Yeah.
That's true. And
Assimilation is fine. Don't appropriate it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I would ask, what did you have a
I
question?
have two questions,
Couple too.
unrelated to each other.
Okay.
Answer them how you may. And then
Okay.
So the first question was in regards to what you were just talking about, like how it affects males. I'd be interested to learn more about those different ways in which men are affected. And then also is health insurance. I know that's a huge aspect of how people are treated, what type of treatment they get, if it's even available to them. So what was your experience with that, and is it even covered under health insurance? That like the whole health insurance aspect is what I'm curious about.
Okay, so I'll start with health insurance. If you have really bad health insurance, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get the treatment and the care that you really deserve. For instance, a friend of mine who lives in New England, with her job, I won't say the name of the health insurance, but they made her pay $1,500 before she even had the procedure, which is laparoscopic.
Mm.
And that was her first procedure, just to see what was going on. She had to pay
That's a lot of money.
$1,500.
You should
That's
call
a
them
lot of
out.
money, yeah. just and what you talking about, you're not even talking about actually doing something. You're just
No,
trying to see
like,
what's going on.
in
That's a
In
lot
order
of
to
money.
lay on the table and have
take a
the
peek.
scoping procedure done, she had to pay $1,500.
Wow.
And was that with insurance coverage or
Yes.
Damn.
That's
For me,
So-
mine was free.
Wow.
I didn't have to pay.
Now think about what the procedure gonna be like for her insurance. If
So-
you just looking and it's 15, there's no procedure. You just got to see if there's something wrong. $1,500. I can only imagine if she had to have a procedure
No,
done.
that
if
was
she had
getting
to.
a procedure done.
Oh, that was
Okay.
getting it.
That was
Okay,
getting
okay,
it
okay.
laparoscopic, but for myself, both times I had it done, because I've had it done twice in the last 4 years, I never had to pay. Yeah.
Not even a copay.
No.
Damn.
Damn.
That's
well,
what's
I
up.
paid for my doctor's
we
visit.
might hop on that insurance.
Yeah,
right?
I don't recall paying. I
Fantastic.
don't recall paying for it.
That's what's up.
Especially last year because I was on my own insurance. The first time I was under my parents' insurance, so they both had pretty good insurance, so it canceled each other out. But this last year, it was just me. Tara didn't pay nothing. I just
You
remember
got
having my
that.
doctor's
Hope
visits.
you don't
I don't know about
break
Becky.
his bill out there.
I know. No,
Let's hope
End up
not.
ca-
You know.
float down, end up catching it like, oh, this is me.
Ooh, they found me.
Yeah.
So, with insurance, you do have outrageous fees as far as paying for the birth control. Because when some women use birth control for
To ease
to ease the pain, suppress certain hormones, and all that type of stuff. It depends on the woman. It's a case by case thing, but they do use birth control as an option.
Yeah.
If you're more on the holistic route, then you probably aren't interested in birth control. But the numbers for that can kind of climb up to, I want to say on average monthly, I probably spend maybe $150. The most I've spent was like $250 a month on just medical visits and prescriptions and stuff like that. And there's no cure.
And so you're potentially going to be paying that indefinitely.
Potentially, yeah. Because if you get referred to one doctor, for instance, my copay for a specialist is $25. So I go to my specialist once a month, which is pain management. I go to my physical therapist once a week. That's $25. So once a week, 4 times a month, that's all. We already got $100. And like I said, pain management, that's $125. That doesn't include if I have a flare-up and have to go to the hospital or to the GYN. If I go to the GYN, it's $25. If I go to the hospital, it's $150. And I know people women with endo that do go to the hospital frequently. Like my sister, she's a frequent visitor.
And so she has to pay like $150 every
It's a
time.
minimum of $150, depending on what type of insurance you have. Most require you to pay
Wow.
about
That's a lot.
$150 average. And
So you said your sister has endo as well. So then my question obviously is like, is it genetic?
That's what I was about to ask you.
you're more likely to have it if a closer relative has it. They say most of the time it comes from the paternal side, which is really weird to us. Like when I say weird to us, like women that have endo, but they say if you have a close female relative that has it, you're more likely to have it. Also, to answer your question earlier about men being affected by endo, how many men do you know that's willing to date, yet alone marry someone that they know can't have kids?
Yeah, the pool is very narrow.
Yeah,
The
I
pool
was
is
about to
narrow.
say,
Like,
it just
you got to be a
it
person
like,
like, I don't care about having
like,
kids.
That's
I know quite a few brothers that would love to find a girl that could not have children.
No, there are some.
But there are some. I would
But it's
say.
narrow.
I would say.
We're
I would
talking
say.
about dudes
you
that
did
got
with
side
trade.
chicks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was about to say.
being a man,
We talking
yeah.
about.
Like-
We talking
depends
about
on-
take
No, there
that
are
out
some-
of it. We're talking about like you
The rest
to
of your
decide to
life with.
settle down and spend the rest
No,
of your
some
life with
dudes
that
don't
person
want
knowing.
kids. They do.
Yeah, no.
That's true.
That's
Yeah,
true. That's true. But I
how
feel like
many?
how
Yes,
many?
that's
Yeah,
a
I
very
feel
small
like that.
segment.
That
No,
it's a
no,
very
no,
small.
smaller. It
Because
depends on what
most
they like,
people,
like.
most men think about their name being carried on.
Exactly.
That's the first thing they think
It's a
about.
selfish
So
topic.
it's like,
It's
yeah,
a-
it is. It's selfish. Yeah,
There's a big thing though. There's a definitely
And think about this: you still have to take care of the woman that you're with.
that you're with.
Yeah.
You made that decision. Like
Yeah.
y'all in it now.
Yeah.
Like so.
But they make the decision, and then when they're really in it and they realize it's not as convenient, like
Sure.
we don't
Yep.
get to pick and choose when you have a flare up or, oh yeah, your medical bill's costing a lot right now. It's like a car note at this point. How much, how invested is someone actually willing to be? And some women with endo don't even want to date because they don't want to go through the motions of getting to know a person, the rejection, and all that type of stuff.
Or even worse, I feel like it could be a situation where a dude really is invested and doesn't want to leave at the end of the day. When that revelation is made, the dude is like, this is not necessarily what I signed up for, but I do love this girl.
Yeah.
So that's when you start living the lie, start being covert about things.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of things happen under the cover. It's like, okay, I'm going to go out here.
Yeah.
Might accidentally make a baby subconsciously. I want a child.
Yeah, it might be on purpose, but not really on
purpose.
purpose.
Accidentally on purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It's like I don't want to, pull that strap off, but when I do, I won't mind that I do.
Like
Because,
if it slips,
it's like,
it's like,
Yeah.
oops. Because at the end of the day, in the back of your mind, that's really what you want.
Yeah.
So what I would ask, what can you tell us as young male professionals and just other younger generation of males coming up to understand? Because I feel like a big part of the problem is we don't even understand. Honestly,
I didn't hear about it till today.
I didn't hear.
I heard about it.
Don't even know about
I was about to say
it.
I didn't know
I heard
about
about
it
it from my
until
sister.
you told me you had it, and I had no idea. Remember we've had multiple conversations about this topic because I've been trying to figure out exactly what it is because I didn't even know it existed. I didn't even know
A lot of people don't.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what can you do to educate us so we can have a better understanding of trying to empower and help our black woman rather than just saying, "Oh, I ain't trying to deal with her because she can't have my kids."
Okay, so where do I start?
Yeah, that's
That's a
tough.
big
That's a-
unwrap.
that's a-
That's a
yeah,
lot to
yeah,
unravel.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with the basics. Our month for endo awareness is March.
March.
The
Okay.
color is yellow.
Mark that down.
Most women
Job.
don't know about it. Young girls don't know about it. I've had issues growing up when I had bad periods at school and the nurse thought I was faking. And I was like, ma'am, if I wanted to go home, all I had to do was call my parents. Like, somebody would have came. Let alone my dad worked at the school I went to.
Oh.
Jeez.
And when she found that out, she felt stupid.
Yeah.
But they don't actually prepare you for this. Like, they give you no background. So me integrating it into the health curriculum at my job was a big deal. So far, I've been able to connect with almost 600 students in the last 2 years, male and female. I would also say endo is not for every man to handle.
Yeah.
It's not.
Straight up.
I can see that.
Every
Yeah, nah,
man
I
is
see that.
not
It does. It
gonna
sounds
be
like
A lot of
to
men
handle.
aren't equipped to just be in a relationship, let alone
Facts.
handle something
Something
like
like
that.
that.
Exactly.
yeah.
A
So
lot of times we
it's
don't want
okay if you choose not to date a woman that has endo because you may not be able to handle it. You may not be able to handle the emotional roller coaster, the up and down of personality and all sorts of things to the point where she may not be able to work anymore because there are women that are like that. I know women that are like that have not been able to get a check on a consistent basis because of their health. So how comfortable are you with that, especially if you're only dating?
Yeah.
This is a question I have. It's kind of going back towards like just doctors not listening when you telling yourself about your body. Y'all know about the Serena Williams situation?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, of course we know who Serena Williams is. Y'all don't. For people that don't know,
Gotta be
she's
living
a
on
She's
the
the
rock.
world's best tennis player,
Probably
whether
of
male
all
or
time.
Probably the
female.
best
Of
female
all time.
athlete.
Of all time.
I mean, I think
Ever.
she's the best
I think
tennis
she's better
athlete.
than
I think she's the best.
most
I think she's
Yeah,
the best
I
tennis player of all time.
Yeah, I was about to say I think she's male or
she
female.
past
She's the
Venus
best
now.
tennis
She-
Oh, she
athlete.
been past
Yeah,
Venus,
she been
yeah.
past
Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
2001. Like,
Let's not.
Venus
let's
is
not-
dope.
Venus was the
But
best
see,
until
that's-
Serena
Let's
passed her.
not get too crazy. She's not better than most male athletes. College male athletes.
No. I did not say athlete. I said she's
Oh,
the
I was
best
talking
tennis
about the
player.
sister.
She's
Venus, sir.
she.
No,
Oh,
he
you
said-
talk.
he
Mars.
he said-
We're not going to war.
I said
he said
Serena
Serena.
is the best tennis athlete.
we say
You
pound.
said she's better than most men.
And I said,
Pound for
Yeah,
pound.
but most at
We can say
tennis,
pound for pound.
tennis,
Pound for pound,
tennis.
she is.
You talking
When it
about
comes
men
strictly
in
to
Talking
tennis?
about
Yeah.
in general?
No, look, Serena
I believe
herself
that.
has admitted that
Yeah.
she's played college tennis
She was
players.
getting
and
she
was
did.
getting spanked.
She did.
She can't beat
Men. Okay.
But she could be the most of the average man. Yeah, easily.
There are some, but that
She could be everybody here.
That idea that
Yeah,
we
well,
don't pay
yeah.
attention.
No, like that's
Yeah.
like, what are you talking about? son?
But I feel like
Black
she,
athletes.
I feel like she could beat Rafael Nadal.
No, you tripping. All right,
I feel like she could beat Roger Federer.
All right.
I feel like-
damn
I
mind,
feel like
sir.
she could be
Like,
him.
I feel like.
Oh, that's
I feel like
That's just me being biased.
She's admitted that she can't.
This could be a whole nother conversation too. Like for real.
That is
Like
a whole-
that's a whole nother.
I
that-
do.
That's a touchy
I'm gonna
Yeah,
interrupt.
exactly.
I'm
What-
gonna
which-
interrupt
what-
your
what-
question, but I think it might be on the same. So if it's on the same line, jump in. But if not, just ask it after. But my question is, you know how there's that idea of like strong black women, right?
Yes.
It's really not said about any other race,
Mm-hmm.
and it's good because it gives black women credit for how much they have to put up with, how much they've gone through. And so on one hand, it's like this very nice accommodation, not accommodation, but compliment, right? So, but then on the other hand, it backfires, and when black women go into the doctor's office, then they're like, because of that whole idea of black women are strong,
You don't feel
that
pain.
they don't feel pain.
Oh, you'll be all right.
So,
I'm
like,
still
what are
asking
your
after,
thoughts? What are your thoughts on that?
It's so much to touch on. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
You good?
Please gather
I got
yourself.
beef smoothie.
Don't leave me. Don't leave me.
Hey, I did a 2-day juice cleanse at the beginning of this week, so I know.
Okay.
You know the bathroom right there. So you know where your bathroom is.
Y'all play too much. So as far as black women are concerned, one, it depends on your approach. So we could have a whole separate conversation with holistic approach versus westernized approach. But right now I'm gonna speak generally. Black women, I feel like are at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to a doctor's priority. So if you're expressing something, you're fine, y'all been through worse. And it's just like, even when
We're
we've
still
been
people.
through worse, we're still people. We didn't even ask to go through half of it.
Yeah.
It was just, it shifted. And it's like, black women have this stigma that follows black women. Like, you're aggressive, so that means you don't feel pain. You're this, so you don't feel that. And when it comes, I'm going to just blatantly say it. When it comes to white women, it's like, oh, you're so fragile that, the world's here to help you. And you're like,
It's like they looked at like this little princess doll, where this black woman is this rough, ragged thing that can just go through anything.
and she can make it.
Yeah.
And just come out
Yeah, rough
shining.
and
You're
ragged.
like, no, I need care too. I need empathy. I need treatment. I need help.
The same
What
way
am I-
she's a woman, I'm a woman too.
But a lot of times
Exactly.
people treat you how you complain.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
What you mean? Like the more
A
you
lot of
complain, the more treatment you.
Think about it.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Even in like a relationship, people treat you how they want to treat you, whatever, until you speak up about it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? So they'll really don't
Okay.
really make any difference until you actually complain about it.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now that you
Yeah.
explain like that. So we were just having this conversation. It's called Cocktail Mocktails with Endo Black. We were talking about that. And me and the founder of Endo Black, her and I were having a discussion about it. So there's this thing where, how can I put it? Black women, sometimes we don't know certain rights that we have when we're going inside of the doctor's office. For instance, if they refuse to help or, provide a certain treatment, ask them to document that. So it's been said, I've asked, you decline. Does that make more sense now? So if I'm complaining about it and you're refusing to help, now we're both going to have a paper trail. You're going to write down what I'm saying, and you're also going to make note of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because doctors, to a degree, you're not doing this they're not doing this for free.
For free
I
at
mean,
all.
yeah, you're paying them.
You get paid a lot of money to do what you
These
do.
co-pays, they're keeping them going. And if you decline to help me, then guess what? I had the option to go. And I didn't even realize, I knew it, but in the moment, you don't realize it. You feel more helpless than anything.
And I don't think people know that, period, that when a doctor, declines, you can tell them, can you document
Can you
that?
document
Yeah,
that?
I didn't know
I know that either.
Yeah,
I just
didn't
found
know
out
that.
today.
Yeah.
I was today years old.
Yeah.
Because earlier this year, I was at a pain management office that I would keep anonymous, the name of it. And I went against my better judgment because ever since I've been making my own doctor's appointments, I typically search for a black doctor or a doctor that's graduated from Howard. That's just what I do.
HU.
Oh, how many people graduate from Howard besides?
HU.
Was
One, two,
question. Yeah.
three.
Went.
No, VCU all the way.
Nobody cares.
I got in there, but I missed my.
She said I did. I only got in there.
No,
but...
I
You
wouldn't.
said there's 3 Bisons at the table.
Yeah.
But no, earlier this year I went to a pain management office, and every time I went, I saw a different doctor. I never gone to the doctor's office and actually saw a different person every time I went. And every time I went, I had to re-explain the same thing I explained the first time. So for me, I was like, damn, we don't even have a rapport with each other. You don't, I mean, most doctors don't remember you, but then at least you can start jogging their memory. And they're like, okay, I got an idea. So the third time, the doctor tried to treat me like I was drug searching.
Oh wow.
Yes.
So basically stereotyping, like you just in here for drugs. Like
I'm
you don't...
just in here, and I mean the thing about it was they never really prescribed me no real drugs, so I'm just like, bruh.
Are you over? You
And
ain't.
I
Start
told
scratching.
the doctor that referred me, she's amazing, and she was, a bit disappointed. I told her, I said, honestly speaking, based on my age, don't you think if I wanted to find prescription drugs,
I can do that
I can do it.
without going to a doctor.
Yeah.
Without going to a doctor.
She was like, you have a
Oxycodone for 300, sir.
Ding ding ding.
She was like, you have a good point. I said, and I never experienced anything like that before because with endo, you do have a lot of trial and error. Like right now, we're trying to figure out if I have fibromyalgia or not.
My mom has that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you're familiar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's an autoimmune disease. So trying to figure that out because some of the symptoms begin to overlap. I also have fibroids.
Between endo and fibromyalgia.
Yes.
Okay.
And I have fibroids. So the symptoms overlap. So my pain levels increase daily.
Because it's
That's
like
another
you're
thing,
basically dealing with 3 different
I'm
conditions.
dealing with 3 different conditions. So we don't, like I said, the fibromyalgia is pending, but for sure we do know about the fibroids and the endo. So my medication and just going to different doctor's offices, on my chart, it looks weird, but if you read the chart to know what I have, you understand exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like I'm going to a holistic doctor. I go to 2 holistic doctors, and then I have 3 or 4 other doctors for pain management, for physical therapy, and now I'm trying to get into body massages to help with the muscle spasms. Because with endo, you do begin to develop muscle spasms. I have pelvic spasms, vaginal spasms, spasms in my legs and in my lower back. It begins to affect the lower extremities more.
Basically, like
So when that doctor tried to treat me like I was a drug addict, I was really offended.
I can imagine.
So I switched offices. Back to our original question and your statement saying if you don't complain, then they don't know how to treat you. And like I said, now that he explained it the way that he did, I do believe you have to set a precedence. Whether you stick with that doctor or not, let them know, look, I am educated. I'm not stupid. This is what you have to do.
And
I have a question. Oh, my bad. Oh, but so going back to the Serena Williams thing, I brought that up because for the fact that like she's clearly in tune with her body. Like she's a professional athlete. Like that is a part of the job description, kind of. Like you need to know everything
about your body. So when you come back for the season, you need to be in shape.
Yeah. So like to fast forward a little bit, I feel like this is just a general thought I have or a general belief I have. I feel like whenever you specialize in a certain study or a certain field so much, you become enamored with that study to the point where like you start losing the human element, especially when, and that's dire when it comes to being a doctor.
Good point.
For real.
That's a very good point.
So I know you mentioned that is a whole other conversation when it comes to holistic and like Western medicine.
Yes.
But just to touch on that a little bit, I know that people that study holistic medicines, they study it too as well. Like they're specialists when it comes to certain degrees. But I feel like because it's such a fringe thing, well, I'm not gonna say I feel like I'm gonna put the question out there. So because it's such a fringe thing, do you feel like when you go see those type of doctors or those type of like specialists, they're still in touch with that human element a little bit more than the Western medicine, people that practice Western medicine?
Yes. So for me, with my experience, One, I will say I had to get out of my own headspace with endo. Because sometimes you put up these barriers that you don't realize you're putting up before you even go inside the doctor's office. I'm not going to lie. I went to the holistic doctor. I left. I had a whole emotional breakdown in the car.
Mm-hmm.
I called my mother. I called my friend. And I cried for like at least a good 15 minutes. I just didn't. I was overwhelmed by the information. And I felt at the time that they didn't get what I was saying. Because they'll tell you, your food is your medicine. I'm like, I feel you. But right now, food ain't my medicine because my uterus feels like it's about to pop out of my body. Like, I have a friend whose vagina, her uterus fell.
Wow.
Like,
Okay.
it fell. It crowned at like a baby.
Sheesh.
That's whoa.
What?
Swear
I
to
know that's
God.
possible.
Pardon me, madam, you dropped this.
Literally.
About
Like,
two
like
blocks
that.
back.
I
But
swear
like,
to
can
goodness.
you imagine how that feels though?
That's
No.
terrible.
Can you imagine?
No, I'm good.
How
So
that
when-
I'm
feels?
good.
When you're told that sometimes and you're dealing with so much pain, and again, with endo, you're like stressors, different environmental stressors, or whatever you have going on can really affect your body at the time. So if I'm dealing with a high stress situation, I can have a flare up. And my flare up can last from 2 to 3 hours.
That shit made me sweat.
Or it can last for 2 weeks. There's no time period. You can't dictate, oh, my flare up is only going to be 4 days. You can't dictate that.
Your body
When it feels like,
Explains to you exactly how it.
yes,
how
and
It's a
you
constant
have to
conversation,
listen.
yeah.
So I've learned from the holistic doctor. I had to tell her, look, I am willing to try the things that you're giving me. I'll replace what you give me. I'll replace it with an old habit. So I started doing beets. I replaced coffee for beets.
It's a great
Everything
exchange.
I couldn't do everything, but I gradually went into it. And prior to going to the holistic doctor, I was still eating clean. So it wasn't a huge surprise or like an abrupt stop, but I have a lot of food allergies. So I can't do peanuts, I can't do seafood, I can't do avocados. Like the superfoods that you can eat, I can't. So I'm just like, what y'all want from me? Like,
kale.
yes, I can't do spinach.
Spinach. Damn.
So-
Right? And I used to love me some good sauteed spinach.
I don't even know what different types of spinach is.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Yeah,
So-
sauteed spinach.
I'm learning so
are
much
you-
today.
Are you gluten free?
I'll try certain gluten-free things.
Mhm.
What I've learned is everybody's body won't respond the same way. All healthy foods aren't healthy for me.
Mhm.
So what you can do and you might have tremendous results with,
Mm.
I may not be able to do, and so forth and so forth. So I've literally had to figure it out, trial and error.
Mm.
And I do a lot of journaling with endo, trying to monitor my symptoms and different things like that. Like earlier this week, I woke up with a swollen face. Swear to God, swollen face. And I get weekly allergy shots.
Mhm.
Whole face.
Yeah, whole face swollen. And I started taking a new multivitamin. And I was disappointed that I couldn't take it because I really wanted to support, Tia Mowry? You know
Yes,
Tia Mowry?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She got endo
Sister.
too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
No, for real life. She has a cookbook too.
Mm.
But it's not like a traditional cookbook. It's endo friendly. She has just a bunch of recipes. She shares her story and everything like that. But she has a new multivitamin called Shop Answer. Have y'all seen it? No.
Mm-mm.
Wait,
I
what
don't think
is
so.
it called?
Shop Answer. It's like you
Shop
shop.
Answer?
Well, it's called Answer, but shop.
Answer,
Shop-
yeah, or like
shop
shop
for the
answer, yeah, shop
like
for the
shop,
answer,
Like
yeah.
Shop Forever
And-
21.
shop answer, yeah.
Gotcha.
And it's a multivitamin. And my body did not take well to it at all. Like when my eyes was like, "Brr."
So
And I got my eyebrows done. I got them laminated. That's a whole nother conversation.
Oh, I'm about to say, I don't even know.
I
I don't know
laminate-
nothing going on.
Laminate your eyebrows?
I ain't know that either.
Yeah,
I
like,
think,
I'm
I think about diplomas when I hear that.
Yeah, so
This man said I'm thinking about
Think about punch
diplomas.
cards and shit.
I can't. Certain things I just can't participate in. Like really basic, minimal things I can't do. I say all that to say. And as far as the holistic and Western, I've just blended both together. Now, I do prefer holistic, but at the same time, when my pain is through the roof, I don't want food.
Some of them things that can bring you down real quick.
It can bring me down. Then I can somewhat maintain it with the holistic approach. Yeah, I really don't have a problem with the holistic. I like it. Some of the things, like I said, I can't do because I'm allergic. But then there's other things that I definitely go in on. Like I love the ginger. I love the fact that my grocery bill has decreased.
Right.
But
Hallelujah.
my appetite has picked up.
Yeah.
Because
it's not much.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
And
Yeah,
then
true. That's a good point.
sometimes I lose my appetite. My appetite becomes suppressed when I'm having a flare because you have so much nausea.
Yeah.
And if you have a lot of nausea, who wants to eat?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they had me on this birth control. This thing was sent from the devil. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
You remember what it was? Which one it was?
Mm-mm. No,
Ask
I
for a
should
friend.
take a picture.
Nah, no, I mean, it
no.
can be helpful
No,
it
to the
can
neck
be.
because if he,
Specialist.
The
yeah,
only
you know.
one that I had a good response to was like minestrone, low estrogen, and Taytula. But then I guess my body became too accustomed to it, and then it just kind of
Yeah,
went
once your
left.
body gets so used to something, it kind of
Exactly.
like doesn't
And
work
then
anymore.
I literally was thrown up. In 1 week, I probably threw up like 4 or 5 times. And I said, I can't keep doing this. I was so sick. I couldn't keep anything down at all. So I just stopped. I made the exclusive decision to stop. Not exclusive. Executive decision to stop taking it. They put me on this treatment called Oralissa. Y'all can look it up if you choose to look it up right now. I pretty much went through menopause.
Damn.
Oh,
I
wow.
go through menopause to help with the endo, but it threw my pH off. I was sweating. I had insomnia.
Had them hot flashes.
Hey,
Man, I respect older women on a
I'm
different
about to say,
level
I'm not
now.
gonna lie, at least you got a head start. How that feel?
No, and I'm
So
not
it's
looking
a-
forward to it at all.
So Oralissa is a prescription medicine used to treat moderate to severe pain associated with endo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
Start asking people for the remote while you're sitting in front of it.
yeah,
Baby, get my remote there on the table right here.
Like, why my voice sound like this?
literally, and I mean, you just start. It's torture. Like
Jesus.
I've never experienced symptoms like that, and you don't have the cramping, but you're going through so much other stuff. It's like
You forget about the cramping.
I'd rather have the
The cramping,
cramping.
yeah.
I mean,
Jeez.
when I tell you I was sweating, I was in New York in January
Wow.
with no layers of clothes on. I had the little, the crop hoodie
Yeah.
from Nike. I had that on and my coat open. I mean, I was so hot. I couldn't sleep. I mean, it was cool because I work a lot of jobs, but after a while, you want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
True.
Like I said, I work at a high school, so we have winter break and whatnot. And literally, by the time it was time to go back to work from winter break, I was up for like 24 hours, 26 hours. I would take naps in between my off periods because that was the only time my body would actually go into a restful state. It was crazy. That's all I got to say. And then my hair started falling out this past March from a birth control that I was on after I did Oralissa.
Jesus.
And so I have to also take vitamin D too. Because
So
I wasn't getting it.
It sounds like, it's pretty much like a constant fight.
It is. It's like
every
daily.
day.
That's-
Daily
that's,
constant.
You take it moment by moment, not day by day.
That's like
That's
a case of cure worse than the disease.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of vitamin D,
No pun intended.
vitamin D. Most black people in America are extremely vitamin D deficient. Like most people are vitamin D deficient, and then there's a huge part of the population that's like severely vitamin D deficient because white people and fair skinned people, even in the winter, even if it's cloudy, you're still getting sun exposure, and because their skin is so translucent, I don't know if that's the right word. They get there's very low amounts of melanin in it.
Mm-hmm.
They get, even in a very cloudy day, they get a lot
their
of vitamin D.
yeah.
Where on a cloudy day for us, we're getting pretty much fucking nothing. So we have to find alternative ways to get vitamin D, and also, it links back to COVID and why we see that black people are dying disproportionately from other
Compared
races,
to
and
other
people are
races.
linking it back to vitamin D. So
I think
it's
that's a
interesting
little
that you
bit
brought it up because that's something I've been thinking about.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's another conversation, but I think that's a little bit different
What?
as far as the COVID jump. But
Yeah, I mean, not like, but I'm not saying.
I mean,
that
they're
it's a
different
guarantee.
theories. Yeah,
it's
it's
one
a
of
theory.
the many
It's-
theories that
yeah.
people.
True,
but
true.
one thing that's low hanging fruit is the fact that black people in America tend to be vitamin D deficient, and they're the ones who are getting affected the most from COVID. So,
Captain General Question has a general question, real quick.
listen,
So, when it comes to I wanted to bring up COVID in relation to this. So, you already talked about the what we delved in a little bit, or touched on the issues when it comes to just having a voice already, absence of pandemic. So, have you noticed any difference when it comes?
yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
I didn't even let you finish your question.
No,
Finish your question.
I'm out. Yeah, right,
What was
exactly.
the difference?
Yeah, like when it comes like in the midst of the pandemic. Yeah.
Okay, so I was telling Mo in the beginning, I literally was developing a regimen. Like I said to myself and to my friend, well, clearly I was like, 2020, I'm really going to get a handle on endo because I'm tired of it dictating so much. I can't even work how I really want to because I'm having flare-ups and I don't want to be the consistent call-out employee. But I'll call out if I have to. I mean, I keep my heating pad in my trunk.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah, like I'm not playing no games.
Yeah.
So I started off doing vaginal steaming.
The Yanni jump.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yanni.
You should-
He said, "I'm sharp. I know about it."
Yeah,
2009.
Like, I'm mad at Yanni.
So it worked. I like the effects that it did have. It didn't, of course, take everything away, but in compilation to what I was doing previously, it helped. I was doing physical therapy, pelvic floor therapy. That I told you guys about the 3 layers. So that was helping. And I also do aquatic therapy. So I'm doing deep water walking in the pool. I'm doing different shallow water exercises to help with strengthening different body parts, especially the lower extremities. And I enjoy working out. So I didn't want to completely 86 working out. So being in the water helps. Sidebar, I have a goal of doing a marathon.
Nice.
Uh-oh.
Or
In the
an
water?
Ironman.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
In the water or?
Hell no, dude.
Yeah.
26
Marathon
miles in the
and
water.
You
No,
gonna die.
like
You gonna die.
I thought I thought they were different marathons. I think they might be a
that's
different.
triathlon.
A
Have you ever done
triathlon.
like
Okay.
the Spartan race or anything like that?
No, they wanted me to, but I really want to run a marathon on behalf of Endo,
Oh, that'd be dope.
and I want to do an Ironman. Well, they've motivated. When I say they, my trainer and some of his
What's an
partners.
Oh, she a thug.
It's like
Ironman
running,
is like
walking.
running, then biking,
Biking
then
and
swimming. Right?
Yeah.
I said running and walk.
A whole,
So
a
you
whole
swim
lot
about
of,
a mile
lot of
and a
miles.
half to 2 miles. You bike, I think, 110,
Yeah.
and then you run 26.
Yeah.
26.
All back to back to back.
Yes.
Yeah.
You gotta be
It's
Tony
no
Stark.
joke.
It's a bunch of Tony
Like,
Starks
that's
for
what I
real.
said. She a
It's no
thug, though.
joke.
You
Yeah.
said you wanted. What's this called?
Iron Man.
Yeah. It's
Bro.
no joke.
You buy-
And for me, I don't even care
Good
about
luck.
the
You have
time.
my
I
blessing.
want,
Please.
I want to just complete it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But
And I
not
also
necessarily
ask
in
other-
a certain time.
No,
You just
finish.
want to
at
just
this
do
point
it.
for me, I don't care about a time. Now, I do have some people who said they were willing to run on behalf of Endo and my organization. So I'm really excited about
swimming.
that.
I'll run.
Give me-
You
give me-
talking about
So,
time,
no,
but-
separately. So
Okay,
say,
okay,
for
okay.
Give me
instance,
that
I'll
we're
make a
gonna have-
T-shirt and I'll run.
We're gonna have a,
POP.
we're gonna enter into a marathon, do the entry form and all that type of stuff. But I have people who are athletes who said they're willing to run in a marathon on behalf of Endo if I can't do it.
That's dope.
And even my trainer, he said that he would be willing to do it as well. And one of his cycling partners said he would be willing to do the triathlon. So
I don't know about the swimming part, but the
Yeah.
run
Yeah,
and the,
you
the
gotta
bike,
do the run?
I
Okay.
got
That's what I'm about to say, yo,
I'll do the bike.
Yeah, the
Swimming
bike and
on
the run
my-
I
bruh.
can do.
swimming
Swimming
a
a
mile and a
mile.
half isn't that bad, but when you're in,
Look,
so you can do.
and I can
sometimes-
swim, but
I'm gonna have a heart attack.
I teach swim lessons, so
Oh,
and I
it's-
can-
I'm an
Fish.
island boy myself. You know what I
Really?
mean?
Okay.
So, but look, swimming. Look, I get tired swimming like 30 feet.
Yeah, it's,
You want
But
me
of
to
course
do
you gonna-
5,000?
you're gonna train for it's a build up, and now I've seen that they do the swimming portion in the pool like lap lanes. So that's an option compared to open water. Open water swim is completely
Yeah.
different.
Different,
Yeah.
yeah, because you got the
Currents,
tides
yeah.
and
Yeah,
the
so
currents
it's
and
a
yeah.
whole different. I'm not there yet in my life.
Yeah.
Before I close my eyes and go in the dirt, I would love to do it.
yeah. I'll be a Navy SEAL first.
So let me answer your question. So, like I said, the yoni steams were doing good, the vaginal steaming, the pelvic floor therapy, and then I was going to start doing the body massages just to help with the spasms. I was trying to see if it was covered under insurance, but insurance was acting like,
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, really, y'all?
Like spasm.
Literally.
Look like a spasm.
Like, they just completely drew a blank when I was like, so you can't cover it under a medical condition,
You
different
gonna try
things
to
like
get
that.
your muscles relaxed on our dollar?
I'm even willing to do a copay, but I know I would need it more than once a month.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a system that I was really getting into, and then COVID happened.
And it's just everything's gone.
Everything went down
Yeah.
the drain. And I went, after that experience earlier this year with that first pain management office, I went to another one, predominantly black, and majority graduated from Howard.
Yeah.
My daughter, she graduated from Howard.
Don't leave me.
Yeah.
Don't leave me.
No, I'm real serious about this, though.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to get into that office because of COVID. And I was sick at the beginning. I didn't have COVID, but I had the flu. And they were like, nope, can't come. Nope,
Yeah.
can't come. Nope, can't. I literally went for 3 weeks straight with a no, you can't come.
Wow.
After being told I could go.
I would imagine so.
So,
Everybody
But I
was
had-
freaking out.
Yeah.
but I hadn't been sick for a minute. So that's why it was throwing me off. And I'm like, okay, I respect the fact that y'all really taking the extra precautions with it. But I literally had to start from ground zero. It's what, June, and I'm just now getting a real regimen back.
Mhm.
It just took me a while because my body was once dependent upon something, and it just completely stopped. Like I couldn't do any pool workouts, nothing. I had nothing. I couldn't do body massages. Nobody, nobody's touching you. So
So I was gonna ask,
Elbows. All elbows.
with endo, what obviously working out, staying active is a vital part of maintaining health and getting better from whatever sickness you have.
Mhm.
How was your physical activity and what you can do impacted by it?
okay, so with endo, your body feels like, no, we don't want to do that. But sometimes you do have to push past it, even if you're just doing a walk. And a walk sounds so minor,
Yeah.
but there are times when literally I'll go out with my mom early in the morning. And we'll just we'll do our walk. We'll do it might be a couple of 100 feet of elevation, whatever it is. It makes me feel better.
Mhm.
There are times when I can't move, like I told you on Thursday, can't move my legs at all. So it's almost impossible to do the walk. So instead, I'll do some stretching or something like that. I just try to stay active no matter what is happening. Now, when I'm having my real good weeks, I'll work out like no more than 3 times out the week, maybe 4. If I do the 4th day, it's something really light. Because if I do too much, the symptoms and the workout recovery, they'll clash. And my body will go haywire.
Yeah, okay.
So prior to this whole 2020 COVID thing, my body wasn't really having that many hiccups as far as the whole leg pain and all that. That was something that developed over time. Certain symptoms, you can lose them along the way or you can develop them. And this, like the leg part, was something that I developed over the last, I want to say 8 months since I had my last surgery. Some things went away from the second surgery that I had last year, and some things they developed, and I was just like, I don't know, I don't understand how that happened, but so be it. But I try to stay active no matter what I'm doing, and I don't minimize the effort. At one point, I used to minimize, and I would feel bad, like, oh, I didn't even do much. Nah. I tell women with endo, don't minimize what you're doing. If you did something better than yesterday, then it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Every bit counts. And you can, build onto that. Now, it does make it hard to have body goals sometimes because you literally may not have an appetite for a week and a half. You may have an endo belly. So endo belly literally makes you look like you're pregnant. Mo, look at that. Endobelly.
Oh,
That's
And
weird.
so like you literally
Said,
look like
oh.
you have you're about to have a child.
You literally.
I thought
Like
you was about to
extreme
try to go
bloating.
on my man's right quick.
No.
Yeah, I thought she was about to be like, Mo, stand up real quick and show everybody. Like, I was about to be like, well, damn. I thought I lost like 75
Right.
pounds.
I
Damn,
thought I was
man.
doing good.
Like, what?
Adam is savage, yo.
Okay,
You do.
so
You-
yeah,
Like
it
really
says
distended.
Endometriosis.
You tongue having a stroke?
endometriosis belly. Endobelly is a term used to describe the uncomfortable, often painful swelling and bloating that's associated with endometriosis. Endometriosis is a condition in which the tissues that are similar to the lining inside the uterus, called the endometrium, is found outside the uterus where it doesn't belong. So basically, it's like a baby bump from swelling and bloating.
Swelling, bloating, scar
So
tissue, all
you
that.
experience a lot of that.
And
Like
how
I
long
have
could
it
that
in my
last?
ankles right now because of the medication I'm taking. I'll show y'all.
Wasn't it like water retention or something?
Yeah, and the medication they call like edema or something,
Yeah.
like the result of the swelling
Swelling.
edema. But
How long can something like that last?
as long as it feels like.
It's funky cold.
So what you don't want to do is add to it. For instance, I crave salty foods when
Salty food.
my
I see.
flare-ups are at its
Salty
peak.
I'm
And at
listening to
first,
shit.
it was more of sweets, but then it just randomly changed into salty food. But if I'm
It will
swelling,
always be sweets.
then I don't want
Big cookie
to
monster.
eat something super salty, and I got
Yum, yum,
swollen
yum, yum.
ankles and my belly swollen and all that type of stuff. So you want to go against it. For instance, I did a lot of dietary changes, like all the cheesecake I used to do. Nah,
Yeah.
can't do it.
Damn.
I'm doing coconut milk now. That's if I decide to do the milk.
Damn,
Because I can't do almond.
You sounded so hurt when you just said that.
I did.
Yeah.
She was like, I do coconut. I can't do
I'm curious,
cheesecake.
like, how is this ordeal, if I can say that, how has that shifted your perspective on life? Like, what was your perspective on, like, life, spirituality, religion, the meaning of life prior to that? And has there been any significant change in how you thought about the world, your life, and your place in the world?
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to try to answer all of that. Initially, before this, my life was lit. I mean, like, when I say lit, it was lit.
Yeah.
I had the time of my life the summer before I found out I was sick. I was in Vegas. I mean, I just graduated. I was really living. I wanted to move because I had studied abroad while I was in school. So I had the idea of, okay, I'm going to just move once I'm done. I'm going to find somewhere and I'm going to just start over. This is what I want to do. I'm my mom's, like, liberal, weird child. And I just had all these ideas. And they got, it was, I don't even know if we can say an abrupt halt. It just felt like a bulldozer just came and knocked everything way left and way right. I even lost my job as a result of this. I had got hired by a staffing agency, and I actually started working for the staffing agency for attempt to hire. And I got sick literally in the middle of that time period. And they knew about it. And I could tell that they were waiting to kind of let me go.
Like for the right time.
And of course, because they're a staffing agency and the HR, they knew how to word it. And yeah, they let me go. I literally had to start from ground up. And as far as my spirituality, it was definitely a test of faith. I'll say I'm definitely more in tune than I've been before. I don't have any resentment. I'm not bitter. At one point, I was a tad bit angry. I'm just like, this ain't what life's supposed to be about. Like, I've worked too hard and I've done all these different things, and now I'm not doing anything that I really want to do or feel like I'm supposed to be doing. And so I'm like, I'm not even using my degree. And I spent all this money. I got student loan. I mean,
facts.
I
who said student loan? Like,
I was about to say, man.
I was feeling some sort of way, like, real bad.
That's half of the U.S.
And emotionally, it was real damaging. And that's when we were talking about the mental state earlier, it was really doing something to my mental process. And it's like, I got to do something. I don't know how I'm going to make something out of this, but I need to share my story or share my experiences so somebody has some insight. I'm not saying there's going to be a cure-all, but it's more guidance than what I initially had. So that's pretty much where I am. I'm making the best out of what I have, and it's causing me and forcing me to be comfortable with being uncomfortable permanently. Because, people say it, but to actually live it
right.
every day is completely
Whole
different.
different story.
So to piggyback off of your question, Ray, and your response to this question, when it comes to the stages of grief, like, do you see that they're a little bit more fluid because it's an ongoing
Some days.
ordeal? Okay.
Some days, and then sometimes I really feel like I'm running out of time. There are times when I'm like, what if, this might be a bit much, but I'm like, what if I die without feeling like I've completed everything I wanted to? Because endo doesn't just bother your reproductive organs. It can hinder other organs. It attaches itself to other bodily organs. So people think, oh, you get a hysterectomy, then all your issues are solved. No, because if endo spreads to other body parts,
See, I would have guessed that was the answer, honestly.
what's the point of the hysterectomy?
Right.
For some women, a
Because
hysterectomy
it's already affected.
it's already affected other parts.
other
Some
parts.
women, hysterectomies have worked perfectly. For some, it's been
The ones that catch it early enough.
No, it just depends.
Depends.
Like
Oh,
literally,
okay.
it's very circumstantial. Whatever.
Damn.
Every woman's story is different.
Yeah,
So my
okay.
sister, she has it in her lungs. She has pulmonary.
Oh,
So she's prone to blood clots. Her having a hysterectomy is just like,
what's that really gonna do for me?
Exactly. It's a 50-50 chance. So when I say you feel like you're running out of time, or like, what if I die and I don't finish everything I wanted to? That's when my faith comes into play. And it's like, Tara, literally, when you close your eyes, you would have done all that you're supposed to do. So you need to make the best of the time that you have.
Hey, and you doing it right now.
Hey,
Like just like right now, just being out here and spreading word and letting people know what's going on and what that they need to bring awareness to it is you doing what you're supposed to do. That
And I
is your
appreciate
purpose.
you guys.
And another
No
question is,
question.
like,
Appreciate you for
I know
Mm-hmm.
through the things that, and I'm sure anybody could testify to this, is that when I've been through anything in life, I've always found out that the physical tends to be like the least worrisome part. It's typically the mental.
Yes.
And I'm always interested in what tips and tricks people, like I use meditation and writing down, right? Are there, what tips and tricks worked for you to get yourself out of that mental state?
One, I had to identify that I was in a rough, dark space.
Acknowledgement.
Yeah, I
Acknowledge
definitely had to
that.
acknowledge it. Because at one point, you justify with all these explanations, and it's just like, nah. It's way simple. It's way more simple than that. This is what it is. Now, how are you going to come back from that? So I had to acknowledge that emotionally, I was a wreck. Mentally, I'm stronger mentally than I am emotionally, because your emotions. One, I'm a woman. Women are emotional by nature. Two, really being okay with being emotional was rough. I was just like, this is like, I don't want to cry every time something happens, but I started embracing it and going into the direction that was making me uncomfortable. And then afterwards, I would find different outlets. Like, I'm okay with going places and doing things by myself. I know everybody isn't. So just doing things.
It's fun.
They need to learn to.
Yeah.
I know, it's fun
It's fun
though,
sometimes.
because you really learn a lot about yourself in the process. So trying new things was a way for me to kind of tap into, I guess you can say, some relief. Journaling definitely helped, because after I put it on paper, sometimes I would read it back to myself and I'm like, damn, it's not that deep. Or, okay, you've identified your emotions, now what are you going to do from here? Sometimes talking about it. And then some days I really don't know what to do. I'm just like, we're going to go with the day and see what happens.
That's okay too.
And it's okay not to know. Like, you're not going to have all the answers.
Right.
So I've had to, I had to grow okay with not knowing why. And being okay with not having the answer to why. Because I was a control freak at one point. I wanted to know, why are we doing this? Why did that happen? What time? Like, all of it.
And
I mean, it's
that's
human
when I
nature,
got my
to be
life
honest,
back
but-
too. Is when I started realizing, like, it's why is not always. You know what I'm saying? There's not an answer. There's not always a why to everything. You know,
Exactly.
some things you just have to just let it flow.
I'm not-
And
alright, so
God put you in that position. That's where your faith comes into play. God put you in that position
Facts.
for a reason.
There's another conversation. I do feel like there's a why to everything. I just don't think we. If
We
you
don't
don't know
have
it,
to know the answer
Yeah,
why.
we
at the
don't have
moment.
to. Yeah.
I mean, if I Nick might learn at some point, it don't matter.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. And what else was I going to say? Being okay with change.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized I'm all right with, though I don't always like the change,
Mhm.
I've been able to navigate through change
Change, right.
relatively well. Like, I won't wear all my emotions on my
You
shoulders
being
and
comfortable with
whatnot.
being uncomfortable.
hmm
That's a
Mhm.
big part.
And just running. Like, me doing this is me going into the direction of fear.
That's dope.
I mean, we definitely appreciate you,
Mhm.
sharing all of that insight with us, because that could only, I mean, it definitely helped us, and it could help, a lot of other people, whether it be young men or young women, or even older generation too, because a lot of people, were suppressed, so some people don't even know how to handle it, or I should say oppressed. But we definitely appreciate. Do you have any like social media or anything that you would like to share?
Yes, you can follow me at Tara, Tarah, Bella, Bella _ on IG for all the updates for my organization, because I'm going to be releasing all that information soon. And I'm going to be launching my podcast. And
Hey.
Hopefully y'all can come out.
Okay. Hopefully we get invited
Yeah,
on.
y'all
Yeah,
gonna get invited. And I
okay.
mean, this topic is so broad,
Mhm.
so I definitely would love to come back. And hopefully I touched on enough. Like I said,
Oh,
there's
trust
so
me.
many things to talk about in so many areas, but I
Yes.
think we definitely covered a lot of general information.
Information.
Yeah,
That's
that was
I know,
very
I still got
informational for me. 'Cause
yeah,
I-
it's very insightful.
I still got a
It
ton
was
of
very
questions too, but like as far as like a jumping off point, I think that was great because, like I
It
said,
was.
prior to
It's a
this,
101, yeah.
I had
Yeah.
I couldn't even begin to tell you what it meant, what it was. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people going. You tend to get lost in your own
Mm-hmm.
bullshit that you're going through, and
Mhm.
then you realize there's a lot of different things that are people are going through. So I found this like very
helpful. Yeah, definitely.
Like I tell the
Definitely.
students, be patient with your side pieces and your legs and your main thing and all that type of stuff. We be going through it. We really do.
Alright.
We really
Facts.
do.
That's
I mean,
real.
it's
That's
real to be
real.
honest.
That's
It
real.
really
Yeah,
is
yeah,
real.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
the poom has power, but she also got a mind of her own.
Damn.
And as women, we got to learn to listen to what she's saying. Because they do say you begin to hold your trauma and different experiences as women in your reproductive area. And it becomes very tense and tight.
And you
and
see
filled with
that's why they
tension.
say when you
Yannick be
stress.
talking.
Yeah. When you like when you're stressed and you have different conditions going on, you can give birth prematurely. A lot, your baby can come out with defects. It's
think of dudes.
that like the way you take care of your body and what you've been through actually like you
comes
said
out.
plays a huge role in your reproduction.
Yes.
And that's funny. I think of dudes,
Y'all
nether
contribute.
parts. Yeah, but because ours is like a lot more simple minded.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I know what I,
like
wanted already.
this.
I know what I wanted when I came out the womb.
Yeah.
So I like this hard.
And
I
I will say one more thing. I know, like, as a guy, I don't know if I'm ashamed to admit this, but it's a reality. Like, sometimes you always tend to kind of narcissistically think that everything that a woman is saying to you, doing to you, it's always about, like, man, why she feel that way about me? It's always like, I'm always seeing it from a man's point of view.
Yeah.
Like, right? Like, what did I do? And I think this is good to, like, women can be going through so much on their own. Like, it's not always about you, bro.
Yeah, don't
You know
internalize
what I'm saying?
it.
Like, we as
People
dudes, we always tend to think like, man, like she with some other dude,
Yeah.
she doing this
Right.
XYZ, and it's like,
Sometimes she just laying in her bed by her lonesome.
Correct.
She might be crying because she's having so many different emotions, and it has nothing to do with you most of the time. Now, don't get me wrong. You could have triggered something, but it's something that we as women still have to go below the surface to identify, and whoever is with us, they need to ride out with us as well and do the same thing as far as going below their surface and understanding what is going on with them.
Yeah, and another thing too is like I feel like as a man, when you're in a relationship, you kind of want to like be Mr. Fix It. You want to fix things.
Sometimes you can't fix
And
it.
sometimes it's like you have to accept that. It's like
Yes.
sometimes the best thing to say is nothing.
Yeah.
Just
And
be
some-
there.
Yes. Oh
Just be
my.
there.
Oh, that's a whole.
Like dead serious.
nother
Yeah, facts. No, it is.
No,
It
for
is.
real, because endo and dating, it's a totally different monster. And I say monster because you
just
really
mad,
don't know what you're going to get. Because every woman's experience, think about it. If you're with a woman that's had severe sexual trauma,
Mm.
and then she has endo,
Endo,
that's a
yeah.
whole nother
Yeah.
layer
Right.
Yeah,
of
that's
life
one of the
that
main questions I was gonna ask.
that you
Yeah.
have to deal with. And if you have someone that literally has mental health issues that runs in their family, not
That's
tying in,
Mm.
not tying into endo, but
And
that's
then
something
they-
that she had previously.
Uh-huh.
Now to come to find out she has endo, it's a whole nother world.
All right. Be
So
a different ball game.
that's why I say it can be a monster because you got to go through the ugly
True.
before you find
Shit
some
get
beauty in
deep.
Yeah, it gets real
It
deep.
get
It gets
deep.
real
Indeed.
deep. Real deep.
Literally, it's 3
Big
layers.
Sean.
And again, that was Tara V. Massey, everyone.
Yes.
Our endo fighter.
Yes.
Bang bang.
Oh, and we will be back next week
Yeah.
with more.
Dun dun dun.
Our Gumbo Podcast and Revolutionary Instigators. We out.
Yes.
Peace.
Ciao.
Cash App.
That was good.